Welcome to Construction Genius. My guest today, Gabe Sotello. He is a 21-year-old steel framer and drywall installer who's currently a third-stage apprentice with NGI in Southern California. Gabe shares his journey from deciding in high school that he wasn't going to college, wanted to get into the trades, what it's really like being young on a construction site, and the mentorship that shaped his early career. We'll explore the realities of trade school versus jumping straight into work, the eat or be eaten mentality of construction, and what construction companies should be looking for in young people who they are looking to hire into their business. So if you're considering making stronger connections with the next generation of construction professionals and you want to understand how to better hire and mentor young talent, this episode is going to give you some great perspective. Let's dive right in. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Gabe, welcome to Construction Genius.
Thank you.
How was your week?
It was good. Worked some crazy hours. We were working 10-hour days for a week because we had to finish something on our punch list, and then worked Saturday, 8 hours. And then this week we did 310s, and then I came in, we went in overnight because we had to work in an occupied airport terminal. We had to build a temporary wall, so it's just been all over the place. But it was good.
Awesome. This is part of a series of podcasts that I'm doing with younger people who are involved in the construction trades. Just to introduce yourself a little bit, tell people who you are, what you do, and how you got into construction.
Hi, my name is Gabriel. I'm a steel framer and I hang drywall also. Work for a company called NGI in Southern California. I got into construction. Well, actually, I was in high school and I didn't have any family in the trade or anything, but I didn't feel like going to college, and I liked working with my hands and building things. I like moving around. So I decided to go to trade school. I went to LA Trade Tech College right out of high school. And then I took a carpentry program where they introduced you to different aspects of the trade. We did wood framing, we did concrete forms, we did a bunch of finish work like doors and windows, did roofing, did drywall. And then the company NGI, they reached out to the school and they basically said, send us your best guys. So they sent me and one other guy. And I've been working there for a little more than 2 years.
Okay. Is that a union shop, non-union?
Yeah, we're union.
Okay. And so you're apprenticed in the union at the moment?
Yeah, I'm a third stage apprentice. And then in 2 weeks, I'll upgrade to fourth stage.
Okay. Help me out. How many stages are there?
As an apprentice, there are 8 stages.
Oh, you got a ways to go then.
Yeah, I'm getting close to halfway there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you had to do it all over again, knowing what you know now, would you still make the same decision to get into the trades?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have gone to trade school.
Okay, why not?
So trade school was really helpful to help me figure out what I wanted to do and what I liked, but the school didn't actually teach me anything that the job wouldn't have taught me.
Yeah.
So if I knew what I know now, I would have just looked straight for a job and I know they would have hired me.
Right. So you think you could have walked onto a job site and someone would have said, yeah, you can be a laborer or you can just carry stuff around and then see what you like?
Yeah. From every story I've heard, if you keep trying, someone hires you eventually.
Right.
So it was cool because it gave me the connection, and it gave me some experience just knowing how to measure things and cut things and, how to think about material and stuff like that.
Yep.
But if I could do it again, knowing what I know now, I would have just gone straight for a job.
It's interesting though, because one thing you mentioned is NGI calls up the trade school and says, hey, send me your best guys. And so that connection, I can see the logic of having that network and how that would have been beneficial in terms of people knowing you as opposed to just some rando walking onto a job site.
Yeah, I'm sure that having gone to trade school helps with me. I had more experience, so I had a little more confidence working, and, I kind of had an idea of what we were going to do at work.
Yeah.
But it was more upper management that was really interested in people from the trade school. So it was like superintendents, field operation managers, those kinds of people that they needed to hire a lot of guys at that time. So they were reaching out to different places. So they were at hiring events. They were at little competitions and stuff looking for guys. But when you get into the field, and you meet the foreman, it's like you're any other guy. They don't care what kind of experience you have.
Yeah. No, that's cool. What was your biggest shock when worked at NGI? When was your sort of like your wake up moment? Because again, I mean, tell us how old you are?
I'm 21.
21. Okay. So when did you first start to work for NGI?
I started with NGI when I was 19.
Okay. So, relatively young, right? So you're walking onto a job site with a bunch of grown men. We all know what construction's like. What was was it shocking to you? Was it comfortable? How did that go for you?
I mean, I had an idea of what it was going to be like, but I'm trying to think what the actual biggest shock was. I mean, in terms of the work and the strain on your body and the schedule and everything, like, I don't think I was surprised by any of that. I think what shocked me the most, or maybe was just more of a reality than I thought it would be, was like the whole eat or be eaten mentality.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't matter who you are, how much experience you've had, how many connections you have. Like, if you're not cutting it, you're not cutting it and you're getting sent home or you're getting fired.
Yeah.
So that was, because I mean, this industry is super fast paced. They don't care who you are. They need manpower basically.
Yep.
So that was a shocker, just how hard they push you and how kind of merciless you guys can be.
How did you adapt to that?
Definitely took a change in my mindset. Because to be honest, I was coming in to the trade knowing I had more experience than most people that were starting.
Right.
At least like people my age that were starting in the trade. I knew I had more experience. And to be honest, I knew that I was probably smarter than a lot of those people. So I chose to be pretty, like, I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew when I started. I didn't want to present myself as like I was super good. And then actually I blow it and these guys are like disappointed. I didn't want to do any of that. But I knew in my head, like, okay, I kind of have an edge here. I can figure out what I'm doing pretty quickly.
Why did you have that edge?
I think just because I've worked a little bit of construction, but really it was the trade school prepared me a lot with more of like the behind the scenes stuff of construction. So like not just how to work, with tools, but how to think about the numbers that are involved, and how to calculate and think ahead and stuff like that. It taught me a lot of that. And it taught me a lot of terminology and sequencing of things in construction. So I kind of just felt like I had a pretty decent view overall.
Uh-huh.
But so what I had to do to adapt was really forget about all that.
Huh.
Like I had to become like a child and basically think, I really don't know anything. I need to learn how to walk again, basically, because these guys have a way that they expect things done. And there are guys that are super experienced that know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I need to basically throw everything I think I know out the window and be taught again and be willing to absorb as much information instead of thinking that I already have it figured out.
So when you came on the job site, did you have someone who kind of put his arm around you and sort of took you under his wing, or did you go find someone, or was it just like sink or swim?
No, I was really fortunate because this guy named Alex, he was, the first site I was on was a high school that was being like comprehensively remodeled. So, I mean, they tore half the school down and built all these huge buildings. So this guy, Alex, he was a journeyman who this was his first job where he was being a lead guy.
Huh.
So basically they were testing him out as a foreman. So he sort of took me under his wing. I don't know if he saw something or if he just happened to choose me to help him with something, but he sort of took me under his wing and he was taking me along with all this stuff he was doing. He was doing a lot of layout, kind of going ahead of the guys and getting stuff ready for the rest of the crew to pick up. And he had me help him with a lot of that. I think maybe just he needed a hand, so he picked me, but he ended up, I think he liked the way I work and he liked that I was willing to listen to him. So he worked with me for a while and he was always vouching with me to our general foreman. Like I would always hear him saying like, hey, trust me, this kid, like you can trust this kid, put him with this guy, put him with that guy. And so he started, when he didn't have anything for me to do, he would partner me up with a journeyman who he knew could teach me. It helped out a lot. He was on that site for maybe 8 or 9 months while I was still there. And then he got sent somewhere else. Yep. So once he left, it was like, all right, I'm on my own. But I was really thankful that he was, he kind of took me under his wing. And also he was sticking his neck out for me, giving me opportunities to learn.
That's nice.
Opportunities to work also. Because a lot of people, when you start, they just want you cleaning the whole time or moving material. Right. And he really, my second day, I was helping him do layout on the roof of this building. So I had a really good opportunity.
That's cool. All right, quick break to talk about my book, Construction Genius. This is what I want you to do. Go to Amazon, search for the book, read all of the 5-star reviews, because there's a ton of them. Over 50 to be precise. And the reason I want you to read them is because real people wrote those reviews who've actually read the book. And it'll give you an idea of why you should go and buy a copy right now on Amazon. And here's the deal. If you purchase 10 or more copies for your company, and then send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, I'll come in via Zoom and do a 1-hour Q&A and a bonus training session with your team at no charge. I normally charge $4,500 for an hour of my time. And again, for you, I'll do it at no charge if you buy 10 or more copies of my book. And the reason you should buy it is all in the title. It's effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS, leadership, strategy, sales, and marketing advice for construction companies. So if you're in the construction industry, this book is for you. So you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Audible in the audio version as well, narrated by yours truly. And I know you'll really enjoy it. So go out and get the book. And now back to the interview. Going back to high school real quick, was there a time when did it just dawn on you one day, I don't want to go to college? Or was it something your parents, they were like, we want you to go to college, and you had to kind of say, nah, I'm not going to do that? How did that all work out?
No, so it was actually a day. I don't remember the exact day, but it was sometime in July 2019. And it was summer, right? So I was done with school for that year. And I was like, man, I don't really want to go back to school. Because I just felt like, what am I doing there? Like, I don't see myself making anything of education, really. And I didn't have anything against education. I just felt like high school and then college and then finding a job, I didn't feel like that was for me.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like, what do I really want to do? What would I really enjoy doing? And I knew I liked the physical side of work, and I liked building things. I liked that whole process. But I had this weird impression that you couldn't really make a living doing anything like that. And so I was just thinking like, man, what am I going to do with my life that I'll actually enjoy? And I was driving a couple of days later, and I saw the sign for that trade school. I was like, oh, trade, that sounds kind of cool. And I looked it up, and I see they have all these programs for all the trades. They had like carpentry, plumbing, electrical, all that stuff. So I started doing research. I'm like, wait, these are like actual high paying jobs. So I remember, and I didn't have a set plan before that, but I remember basically I looked into that school and I was like, I'd like to go there and try things out and, see what the trades are like. Maybe I'll enjoy that. And so cool. I told my dad, and he was super happy because I guess he knew about the trades then, because he's a firefighter, or he was when he retired. And he had a lot of coworkers who started out in the trades. So he had like a really positive view of all the trades and that type of education, like vocational schools.
Yep.
He had a really positive view of that. So he was super excited. And then that also meant he could retire early because my education was going to be cheaper. So he was really happy about that.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So as you're involved day to day, what are you doing as a young person? Because it's like, how it is like in the trades, the old guys and the young guys, sometimes the old guys give the young guys hard time and, they're soft and they're weak and all this kind of stuff. What do you do to dial yourself in? So like, you started off describing that week that you just went through where you're grinding and, you are a man, but you're working like a man, right? Whereas a lot of guys your age, they're still in college. Maybe they've never even had a job or something like that. So how do you manage yourself so that you can keep showing up on time and keep taking care of business?
So it's been cool in this job because I've been working at the airport, which is like 5 miles from my house. So it was never a crazy commute or anything. Getting to work was never a huge struggle, but I would say just having a schedule helps. Having some hard and fast deadlines throughout the day. Like I need to go to bed, but we were starting at 3 a.m. for a while. So I was like, I need to be asleep by 9 p.m. And I would just have to work things around that, or getting enough food and water also. Like hydration. I didn't realize, but hydration makes such a huge difference how you feel throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I just have a big water bottle. I'm like, I need to finish that thing before I get home.
Yeah.
So I kind of make these constraints that I have where I'm like, I need to get this stuff dialed in and then work everything else throughout the day around that so I can be at work on time with enough energy, ready to work.
That's cool. So as you're on the job sites, what have you learned that's kind of surprised you where you're like, man, I didn't think I'd like this, but I do like it. And it's something where I want to learn more about it.
Let me think. That's a good question.
Let me ask you a different way. As you're getting into it, do you see yourself in the future as wanting to become a foreman or superintendent, or maybe get into the office? Or you're like, I just like being in the field. I just like taking care of my business. What are you thinking as you're beginning to get into the business?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite part of the job is definitely like the work, like the building aspect of it, doing stuff with my hands and all that. And also the working with other people is really fun to me, working with other guys and we're working on the same task. That's really enjoyable to me.
Yep.
But actually, estimation seems really cool. The estimating side of projects, just doing the math, that connection between what's going on in the field and then having to plan ahead, like having to be engaged with what's actually going on in the project and then thinking ahead to have the right amount of material and everything, have the right time estimates for how long things are going to take. I find that really interesting. And I'm not that good at it. It kind of blows my mind how guys are able to estimate like right off the top of their head how long something's going to take, how much of something you're going to need.
Yeah.
And that probably comes with experience, but I find that whole side of it really interesting.
That's cool. That's cool. What are you noticing about the guys or the gals who are effective leaders in your company? What do they share in common, if you can think of anything?
Effective leaders. I would say they're really good at communication on their side. So they're really good at getting across what they expect and what they need from us or why things are going to be a certain way. But they're also really good at getting from us what they need to know. So I had a foreman, we had like our conics, our storage container, where we had all the screws and, you know, all the just extra stuff that we would need. And he's basically saying like, this stuff is here for you guys. One of my foremen, he was like, if you need screws, grab them and take them. You know, that's why I order this stuff. You guys know how much things you're going to need in the field. But he was saying like, every time you take something, just come and tell me how much we got left so I know what to order so I can keep you guys working and we're not running out of material. But so he was kind of drilling that into our heads, like what he expected and the kind of information he needed from us. Or another thing he would say is when you're working on something, figure out when you're about 10 or 15 minutes away from being done and call me. That way I can think ahead and have something ready for you guys so you're not standing around. So he got us in the habit of telling him what he needed to know. And then like we were always busy with that guy. He always had something for us to do.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, communication.
What advice would you give to construction companies when they're looking to hire young people as far as what they should be looking for?
I would say look for somebody, I don't really want to say impressionable, but look for somebody open-minded.
Yep.
So someone who's not coming in with no experience thinking that they know everything. Someone who's willing to basically listen to how something should be done. And if they don't get it, just keep asking until they figure it out. Someone who's willing to actually communicate and absorb the information they need. And then also as they're doing the work, someone that you can work with to help them keep going in the right direction.
So someone who sounds like someone who's coachable, huh?
Yeah, coachable. That's a good word.
Yeah, that's interesting. Think about the last time you promoted someone into a leadership role and it failed. Why did it fail? I can tell you one reason. People know how to build projects, but they don't know how to build and lead teams of people. Construction comes with its challenges that only insiders truly understand. Generic leadership training doesn't cut it. You need a program to train your leaders built specifically for construction professionals led by an industry expert. And my online course, The Shift, is exactly that course. It has 5 modules. It'll teach your people how to control their calendars and reduce stress and embrace chaos and accomplish their critical tasks. It will teach them the 3 essential messages they have to communicate every day in order to motivate and lead their team effectively. It'll show them how to build and lead a high-performing team, give them a framework for running effective meetings so they'll be able to solve problems in less than an hour, and also give them a higher perspective on their leadership that will enable them to work on the business and on their teams and not get stuck in the weeds micromanaging. So go out to my website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, read all about the course, and then enroll yourself and your leaders in the course, and I guarantee that it will transform your leadership. If it does not, you take the whole course and you didn't get benefit from it, you just send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, and I will cheerfully refund you 100% of your money. I'm really confident this course will transform your leadership. So again, go out to the website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, learn more about the course, and start taking it today. What advice would you give to young people who want to get into the trades in terms of like do's and don'ts? Like as you've thought about mistakes you've made, or you look at people who've kind of come on but then have not been successful, what are some do's and don'ts that you would tell someone that, hey, you got to focus on this and make sure you don't do that?
I would say for one, just be ready to work. It comes as a surprise to a lot of people that we're expected to do hard things in this job. Which is like, I told a guy one time, he didn't want to do, like we had to move a bunch of material and we were going back and forth, unloading it off of this forklift. And he was acting like he shouldn't have had to do it. And I told him like, I'm just going to be honest with you. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything. Just if you don't want to do this, quit.
Right.
Like I'm trying to do you a favor. If this is not what you're interested in doing, then go find something you'd rather do. Because if you want to make it in this job, you got to work a lot. So as far as a do or don't, be ready to work and don't think you're not going to have to work. But I would also say I forgot the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah, being ready to work is
ready to work.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. As you're going through each project, are you getting opportunities to work on different types of projects and picking up different skills?
Yeah, I mean, so the scope of work we do is mostly the same across different projects, but the scope, at least that my company does, we have a really big scope of work. So, I mean, we do framing, we do drywall, and then sometimes we have to tape the drywall, even though a lot of us aren't tapers, but sometimes we have to tape the drywall. Just if the tapers aren't there, if we need something taped immediately, we can do it. We do plaster. So we do lath and plaster. We do some insulation. We do fireproofing. And I've gotten to do all that. Like, lathers are really hard to get a hold of because it's this dying trade. Right. And so sometimes when the lathers need help, they'll send me to go help them. So I'm learning how to do lath, and that's not even the craft that I'm in, but I'm picking that up just because they need someone to do that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that would be another sort of quality, right? Sort of like being willing to say, hey, I'll do that. I'll try this. I'll do that. Yeah. Not just willing to work, but also not just sort of like, that's not my job. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I've heard guys say that's not my job. I'm like, well, do you want it to be your job? Because you could be even more flexible if you learn this.
Yep.
And actually, I had foreman who was telling us that he was like, even if you're an experienced journeyman, be willing to learn something new. Because he was saying, I might ask you, hey, do you know how to do trim? Do you know how to do lath? And he was saying, it's fine if you tell me I don't know, but I'll try it. I'll try to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing, right? It's like being willing to say when you don't know something, not fronting, but then at the same time being willing to learn it.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because there's these old guys that are like, they've done the same thing for like 25 or 30 years. And it's like, there's one thing that they do.
Right.
I'm like, man, if you could teach an old dog new tricks, these guys would be awesome because they're really good at what they do. Imagine if they learned something else.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Do you have any sense at your level, and I know you're just starting out, do you have any sense of the dynamic that happens between the field and the office? Do you hear from the field when the office isn't giving them what they want? Do you hear that kind of dynamic?
Yeah, like all day.
What are the main things that you hear that, and I'm asking this so that maybe a project manager listening or the owner of a company could kind of get some insights into some of the challenges that the field has as they're interacting with the office?
Yeah. So, like the number one advice that every foreman has given me is they'll get off the phone with the office and they'll be like, don't be a foreman, just because they take so much heat from both sides. But I don't know exactly what the dynamic is like. And I'm sure it varies depending on the specific people and the way that the company is run, but I definitely sense that there's a lot of heat and a lot of action sometimes, just because the field, the office has their expectations and they're not always aware of the nuance and exactly what's going on and all the different moving pieces that are going on in the field. A lot of the time, I think the office is just looking at their own scope of work as if it existed in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So like there was nothing else going on. Like there were no other trades to have to work around, things like that.
Right.
Or a lot of the time it seems like the logistics are overlooked by the field. So like we had actually like last week, we had to go into this, like I was saying, this occupied airport terminal.
Yeah.
And there were these two columns that for some reason they had to get to the top of those columns. It was like probably 25 feet high. And so I know my foreman, he was working with different superintendents from the GC and also from our company, trying to figure out a solution for how we're going to get up there. And he was telling me, my foreman, he was telling me that one of the guys from our office was saying like, just bring a boom lift in there. A boom lift is like 17 feet long. How are we going to get it into an airport terminal? So we have a lot of time, there's an understanding of the level of logistics that are going on in the field that sometimes the office is not aware of.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like, it's theoretical in the office, but practical and concrete in the field, huh?
Totally.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's play Wave a Magic Wand here. Let's say 10 years from now, wave a magic wand. If your career has progressed in the way that you're thinking about, where would you like it to be?
I want to gain a good amount of experience just as a journeyman in the field because there's a lot to pick up.
Yeah.
And I see these journeymen that have like 10, 15 years of experience and they'll tell me to do something a certain way. And I'm like, I don't even get why they're telling me to do that. But I'll see them working and I'll see them do it. I'm like, okay, like these guys really know what they're doing, even if it doesn't come across to me immediately. So I want to get to that level. Like I want to master this craft. I want to be really good at something. Generally, I've heard of guys becoming foremen after 10 or 11 years of experience in the trade, at least in this company. So I would like to be a foreman. I think I would like the challenge and I would like the responsibility.
Yes.
So I could see myself going for that. I think it's just a matter of how things go in my career. So like you're saying, wave the magic wand, ideally. I think I would like to try the leadership stuff, being a foreman or a lead guy. I'd like to be on that track.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I definitely want to gain just experience working, because that seems super key, super vital. Like guys that really have a lot of experience seem to make way better leaders than guys that played the game and pulled strings. And I don't want to say cheated their way in, but just took a more of a networking approach to leadership versus just hard work. Those guys don't seem to be as good to me.
That's interesting. That's a good insight right there. Awesome. Well, Gabe, I love having you on here. I think it's really important for people to hear from young folks who are getting into the trade. Any final words of advice you would give to young people who are considering getting into construction?
I would say it helps to understand what you like in different jobs. So, I mean, a lot of the different trades are very different in terms of not only just the kind of work you're doing, but honestly, like the culture of the work. Like as a carpenter in that trade, our culture is super fast-paced, hustle, do what you need to do, go the extra mile, get it done on time. There are other trades that are a lot more detail-oriented, take your time, make things work around you so you can do your work. So I would say figure out your work style and figure out what kinds of things you appreciate in a job and what kind of environment you want to work in. And then research as to what the different trades are like so you can find a good fit.
That's really interesting, that idea of finding out your work style, because some trades are faster paced and perhaps more simple, whereas others are more intricate, slower, and more technical. Yeah, I like that. Excellent. Excellent. So it's interesting when you flip that little bit, someone who's listening to this who owns a construction company, when you're hiring someone, you could explore that a little bit, their work style and what they like to do in terms of either technical or non-technical stuff. So that's interesting. Very interesting. Awesome. Okay. So Gabe, one last question. Down in LA, what's your go-to lunch spot in LA that someone needs to hit up if they're a little hungry when they're visiting the SoCal next time?
Well, it depends what part of town you're in. So
give me your favorite.
My favorite place is probably Tommy's Burgers. And there's 20 Tommy's Burgers in LA and they all say they're the original. But there's one on Sotello and Pico. That one's really good. So you can get a chili cheeseburger. Super good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's what I would recommend.
Well, we're going to put a link in the show notes to Tommy's Burgers down in SoCal. Yep. Awesome.
All right.
Appreciate your time, man. And look forward to getting you back on the podcast another time, and we kind of track you a little bit as you go through your career.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Awesome. Thanks again.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to my interview with Gabe today. There is a link in the show notes to Tommy's Burgers down south. And feel free to check out Tommy's Burgers. It's interesting, right? Gabe's got nothing to pitch, so there will be no links in the show notes other than we're hoping to keep in touch with Gabe as his career develops. And we can definitely catch up with him and see where it goes. Thanks again for listening to Construction Genius. Feel free to share this episode with other people, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity, and to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.